Hello everyone, Silver here, and today let's speculate a bit about the 0.1.1 patch that's about to drop. And if you don't know, this patch is going to be discussed out live with the details on the release on January 12th on the live stream where we will have Gazi and Dart Microtransactions as the interviewers of the developers that will be participating. So you'll be able to see this on the Tavern Talk, which is the Twitch channel. The time and the not the channel, but the program that Microtransaction and Gazi have on their channel and on the Path of Exile official website, and so on. I want to talk and speculate a bit about what I expect here for the patch notes and basically, let's start from what actually I hope they don't focus on, and being the 0.1.1, um, let's say some sort of a big patch, because instead of adding the letters right now, they are adding a new number. They are creating a new interaction. So, which means that probably they will be going by 0.1.x for big changes, and when it comes to 0.x.x, it will come for bigger, for add the addition of content, I suppose. And so then, for this patch I expect not to be reading a lot of things regards buffs and nerfs. I know there are some buffs and nerfs that will come, but I have here, for instance, what I don't want them to be focusing. And when I mean not focusing, is that not focusing buffs and nerfs, I mean that there are way more problems in the game right now rather than some big numbers appear here and there. And so then I believe that for this, the only things that we will probably be seeing is that maybe changes on the Green Fist, which is something that has been causing the game to be some sort of skill that is a must go in order to have a better survivability in the game, because this is too strong now. Um, Maybe they will be changing and reducing the amount of overcap from 100 to 50 or 40%. The attribute stackers, they have been tied to the items that actually enable this sort of build in the game right now. So, for instance, the Hand of Wisdom and the Pillar of Caged God. Uh, I assume that maybe some nerf related to the amount of bonus that you get per attribute comes to these items. The changes might be around there. The Chrono Monster, maybe some changes on the way that it evolves and goes with their skills and abilities to build around and create the interactions less overpowered or less frequent, like controlling cooldown and stuff like this in this game is something really big. So the Chrono Monster has an advantage that I believe that is way bigger than initially expected by most of the players. And well, the Splash Hammer plus Vine Arrow interaction that Hueto has been playing around, for instance, is something that I believe that's not intended, because the Splash Hammer, when it hits, it's hitting the vines, and the splash from the vines is creating the damage. I don't think that is something that's going to last for long. Uh, but besides that, there are, as I said, there are many things in the game right now that are way more important than making numbers bigger or smaller. Um, Try to go this cat and rat behind every single build is going to only be detrimental for the game at this stage. So I believe that we should be expecting to see more improvements on quality of life side. And for that, I hope that they Just to disclose at this point, I hope they bring more information on, make some better communication. Like it's a new year, so they're all back at the office. I hope that some changes come from GGG side. For the past 2 years, I felt like the GGG communication has been gone way worse than before, and so now I hope that they start to think about this and make it better. Like these things regards unintended and intended interactions. Whenever they drop patch notes about numbers, they say substantially. Instead of saying substantially, they should bring the numbers like it's 90%, it's 80% reduction on the multiplier. Like being clear about what they're talking about. I don't understand why they be should having this such fear of being clear about this. It's really strange for me, like coming from GGG. So yeah, I hope they improve the communication on this. I hope they improve the game challenges a bit, because I believe that's when it comes to buffs and nerfs, I believe that's not the only issue. I believe that the game needs have more challenge in the mechanical way rather than simply going through changing numbers. So this is harder. This isn't something that requires more game design, of course. So let's see how the games evolves from here on forward. And now let's take a look on what I'm expecting for the quality of life improvements. First of all, the most important is the gaming crashes. Everybody's having this, of course. Particularly, I've been playing now. I have over 400 hours in the game, and the character that showed me more crashes, no doubt, was the witch. I'm playing with demon form witch, and it's the character that breaks the most of the time. Like so game crashes, CPU overhead. You see that some I don't know, some memory leak or anything, but you see sometimes as you play and play and play the game, you see some shade stacking, and sometimes it starts to get clunky until it crashes. Like there are things to be working around here. I hope they focus this really hard, because the more stable the game becomes, the better it will be. Likely, I believe this having the game that feels playable and enjoyable without handling these crashes, and not talking about FPS here, right? Okay. Um, I know my PC specs, so I understand if I'm not getting 120 FPS or anything like this. Like it's not the subject here. It's really about the game crashing, freezing, and stuttering sometimes. Uh, and weird enough, I feel like sometimes if I lock the game on 30 FPS or lock on 60 FPS, it feels like the amount of crashes even increases. So I don't know, it's something that it would be good to have them to be focused on. And okay, out of this harder level thing and these bugs with direct 3D and everything, what I expect from the game when it comes to game design. Right now, I believe that one of the things that would be cool to see is giving the user to the ability to re-choose the ascendancy, and that's just because it helps you to try more things. Sometimes, like right now, I have a witch hunter, I have a Collage of Shayula, I have a titan, I have I forgot the name, Infernalist, and a Stormweaver. But if I want to see how would be to play with a Chronomancer, I would need to level another sorcerer, and I don't know. I believe this right now it doesn't bother much because it's on early access. This league will last for a long time. This is not even some sort of league, right? But when it comes to leagues, I believe this mechanic will matter more, because you'll be playing in the future with some build. Let's say you are playing with Titan. and then you find another build that you want to respect to due to any reasons. That could be, but you want to respect Warbinger instead of creating a new character, going through all challenges and doing everything again. I believe that being able to rechoose the ascents in the same way that you have in PvE1 would look way better. For the trials, I believe that when it comes to the trials they have these tiers, right? 1, 2, and 3, or 4, 7, and 10. When it comes to Chaos, the Sekima, which is the Sanctum. For the tiers on 1 to 3, I believe that would be better if they reduce a bit the amount of runes per floor, because on 1 to 3 you're actually not looking for farm unless you are looking for jewels, going for find rubies, sapphires, emeralds. At least I like to farm this on Sanctum because the royal chests they have, and they appear with certain frequency, and it's hard to go and get a lot of jewels from there. Uh, so, but besides that, I believe that you are going there looking for your ascendancies instead of loot. I believe it would be fair to reduce a bit because it's highly exhaustive, especially if you're going with your first character where you're not even on top level of gear. Because on secondary characters you may use your currency you made with from your first character to bank your second character, and maybe you already have some friends to carry you and everything. But on your first run, it's really painful to go 8, 16, and 24 runes to get all your 3 ascendancies, and it would be a good change on quality of life, being quite honest. And also add a button to travel straight to the Trial of Sekima, just like we have to try to the Trial of Chaos, to travel to the Trial of Chaos. I mean, it's just fair, right? Moving on. Give us the ability to change the size that we have to display the energy shield. If you look down here, you see that the shield is only a small bar around your life. It would be nice to be able to, let's say, reverse this, or to expand the amount it occupies from the screen, just like we had on PoE1, because this low bar sometimes it escapes from our eyes. We are focused on the center of the screen, on killing stuff, monsters and everything, death effects, and the life globe. It's clear to see that we're getting in danger, but maybe sometimes your main source of life is actually the energy shield, and it escapes from your eyes. This, and then I don't know, maybe for lack of attention, sometimes you made up dying just because you didn't know how much you're committing into a scene of combat, and you didn't saw that your energy shield didn't start recharge, it's not full because whatever reason. But it's a small thing, but it would help. I feel like it would help. Fix the characters being dragged by monsters. This is a bigger thing. This is something that happens quite a lot, and it impacts mostly the melee players. I believe this is something that needs to be addressed. It would makes the melee gameplay looks way better if they did this. So yes, I hope they actually work on this side as well of the gameplay mechanics. Reshaping some of map layouts, fix objects that can actually get your character stuck. So this is something like for the map layouts. Some map layouts, they are just so bad, so bad. Likely, it's not even worth mentioning. But let's say Augury, Seepage, These maps are maps that shouldn't actually exist, to be honest. Augury is too closed, you know, it's hard to navigate, you get stuck to many objects. You have to pull a lever that takes 30 minutes to pull. And I believe that maps like that, they don't fit to the game. They are not a good something good to play at. Right now I have been avoiding it the most as I can, you know. So reshape those or maybe remove them, but make them better. That's something that I really hope to get and fix this thing. Like sometimes you're walking around and get stuck into an object, or you're kiting monsters and you get stuck into a small object that is likely in no way that small thing should be stuck in your character, you know. So this is something to improve that I would love to see. Let's go and also see here. This one is something that is to give us more free space in our stashes, and also um, a better organization, right? So give us back as soon as possible the special tabs. I hope this is something that they could announce on the 0.1.1. So the waste on stash tab and fragments, because right now, you know, the the citadel fragments, they are all paired there in my stash tabs. Also the same thing for waystones and precursor tablets. I hope they can bring this something for us to finally start having it better organized. um so this one, which is the gem cut system, it actually has some flaws. You have been playing around, you might have noticed this as well, but uh if you consider your secondary character, or if you're swapping builds and then you need to respec a lot of points, and suddenly you go to your gem cut tab, your stash tab where you're storing some uncut gems, and you'll notice that you only have level 18, level 19 skill gems, but you don't have enough status to try, maybe just simply to try some skills, and you actually don't have a low level uncut. And this is still bad because you need to go back to lower level maps to farm those uncut gems to be able to use and try the skills. So my propose here would be to actually allow us to select which level of gem we want to uncut, you know, starting from 1 until the actual level of the gem. So you can select, and it is like some sort of refreshing, because with my level 9 I can spend my level 19 uncut gem to place some skill, and then later on I can come and upgrade with the level that I actually want. I don't know, after testing, after doing the changes on the status and everything. But I believe that this is something that would be really necessary for us to have better um, control and better quality of life, and wasting less slots with low level gems and things like that. This would be good to have. Improves on the crafting system. Right now, I feel like the each item is a big casino. I don't feel like this unintended way. Maybe they are bringing crafting table in the future or something like that. Maybe it's just because this is something that is hidden behind acts 4, 5, and 6, and Right now we don't have it due to that. But yes, in any way, I'd like to add here that we need improvements on this. We need to see back some friendly jewels that we had in the past. So, for instance, I would like to have scouring, alteration, and horizon. Horizons to apply on the map and get rid of seepage and valve factories. Alterations for being able to actually change if I have a jewel that is, let's say I have an emerald that I got to status, I want to keep re-rolling that instead of, okay, I used this too, I didn't get what I wanted, now I need to throw it away, or take 3 of those and reforge it. Like I believe that that reforge is, it's a complete waste of space on the hideouts. And the scouring, imagine you are trying to make some waste stone and you get some modifier that's terrible for you, like now you need to throw away that waste stone because, I don't know, you're not going to waste annulments on that because they don't drop, they barely drop. You're not going to waste the chaos orb on that because you can't actually select which one, so it's better to clear out and start craft over, just as we did with maps in the past. You could basically scour and alchemy, things like this. I believe there's these three currencies here. Bringing these orbs back would be a gigantic, addition to the game right now. So moving on, I believe that from this, connected to this, so makes the waste stones less expensive to craft. Right now, crafting waste stones it's either going from white waste stone to alchemy, or going from transmutation, augmentation, rego, and then explodes. Exalt is there, and vol it. Likely, you most likely want to vol your maps because you want to buy that risk. Like, you need to buy that risk of having more modifiers on the map to make it more valuable. And which will come later to the idea that, to the point where actually having all these many modifiers doesn't feel like the map is actually getting any better to farm. Like, you don't feel that is something, you feel that's something wrong with the loot system in the game right now. So moving to inside the maps, I believe that we need to improve here the map objectives to reduce that's so much backtracking that we have right now. Right now we have so many times where you kill the last rare in a corner of the map, and no, you kill the rare on the corner of the map, and then the last rare is actually in the other corner, in the other side of the map. Likely I miss only killing bosses for map completion. That is a parenthesis that I make for sure, because right now I don't like this objective. It's something that I don't feel like it's actually, I feel like doing some of Kirik maps, but the difference is that on Kirik maps the notifications were actually way better. They were way better designed on the map. Also, this reminds me one thing. Objectives once found should be persistent on minimap. This is what I'm talking about. So sometimes on PoE2, if you go and find some ritual, and then you don't want to do that ritual right now, you want to go to the last ritual of the map, maybe for some reason. The thing is that you just don't want to do that ritual right now. What will happen is that if you go far away from the ritual that you actually have already found, or expedition or whatever, or breach hand, they would disappear. And then after you did everything on the map, and then now you want to go and do the mechanics of the league mechanics. And in this moment, your map doesn't point for you where they are, even though you have been passed, we have passed through them already. So I believe they should make this persistent. I don't know. This I believe this is not intended the way it is right now. This is not intended, because if it is, it's ridiculous. Like if it is, it is ridiculous. That's true, but I believe that's not the case. There is must be some reason here, like something that gone missing for some reason and left behind that caused this. But I hope they improve and fix this. I hope to see this on 0.1.1 and making the loot feels more rewarding. Like this is a hard one, I know, because this is attached to many things in the game. Like it's attached to the rarity of the map, the tier of the map, the amount of magic you find on a character, on the amount of precursor tablets that they're using, precursors with quantity, all this I understand. However, I believe that for you to get to a point where you can sustain and apply 4 or 5 precursor tablets on a single node of your map and go and have that waste on tier 16 with a lot of modifiers, with all the 6 modifiers, or if you're crazy and go double corrupted and have T16 10 modifiers. I don't know. First to get to this point, you first must build some stock, some currency. And I'm talking this affects no matter if you're playing hardcore, softcore, solo self-found, or trade league. I believe this is something that it can be felt, you know, vertically across all the game styles that we have. And saying this just because honestly I don't feel much difference from farm at T12 and at T15. If I put both on under the same cluster of precursor tablets on Lost Towers and with same amount of mechanics, of league mechanics, like if I have the Lyrium plus Breach plus Retro plus Irradiated Corruption, all that together, I still don't feel like doing the harder waystones feels rewarding enough. Like I have done many T18 maps with rarity increased, quantity increased, and I don't know, maybe I'm just unlucky as well. Of course, I can be just it can be just my unlucky player side manifesting, but I haven't dropped any T20 uncut skill gems. I haven't dropped more than 1 or 2 divines at the best on these maps, you know. And I have this feeling that if you were supposed to be spending more currency to craft, because we can't actually do much things around alterations and everything, I feel that's a flaw here. That is something that's not well designed, that's not well tied here, because we should be able to spend more currency and therefore farming more currency if we are to have better craft stuff. Yeah, so that's attached. You see, like how this are attached to how the craft feels like a gamba, how the craft is failing a lot right now, and how the maps are lacking rewards and everything. So this is, you know, how tied together and needs to be addressed. So I hope to see something like this on that one. About the essences. So we have essences in the game, but at least for me, it's so often the amount of times that I throw the essence there and the row of the modifier is tier 1 or 2, remembering that in PoE2, tier 1 or 2 is too bad, tier 9, 10, tier 8, the maximum are of each modifier is actually the good ones. So I feel like it's so often that I get low modifiers that is too bad to use SS right now. So that said, uh the SS in the game, I feel like it comes back to the problem of how much I miss scouring, because I could, if I at least could scour the item and throw the essence again, it would feel way better, because uh right now I throw it and then okay, the I lost the modifier. Now I need to throw the item away, because it's trash. I can't restart the item in no way. So this is something that has been bothering me regards the essences. I I rather had the old essence systems where we had tiers of essences that used to work way better, in my opinion. But let's see what happens from regards to this. Improvements on fix and calculation on damage defense interactions. I believe that this is also one of those topics that are quite hard to elaborate, because actually they are not that hard to elaborate, but it's harder to find an actual solution, because they come with different mechanics in different systems in PoE2. But I feel like the calculation on damage, the way it scales, uh, it end up by tying a lot of the interactions in the game in a way that's too limiting. The defenses, uh, the order of defenses here is not something that is that good, because you are way too limited. You get capped really easy when it comes to armor and evasion, but for life mainly, life is definitely uh hard capped in this game. And when it comes to energy shield, so right now it's always to highly escalate the value, and likely the way that the game is going to hit the character right now, it feels like it's creating more problems than new solutions to the system. Interactions, I feel I can see like there are a lot of calculations that have been applied before. For instance, you have this bug with Eldritch Battery and Ghost Read. If you want to check um, failing interactions in the game, you can see, for instance, the Ghost Read, which is the body armor that converts part of your life to energy shield. There is this keystone, which is the Eldritch Battery that turns all your energy shield into mana. But you can also equip the Ghost Read, and since this calculation is applied before, when you put the Ghost Read that comes after the calculations, it still turn your life into energy shield, so you still have energy shield. I don't know, this doesn't sound to be intended. I believe the keystone is something that is defined to your character, like you should have the life on your character being turned into mana no matter what's equipped on your character. This is just an example, but there are other things right now. I believe that they should update the tree to provide more life nodes. I feel that we are lacking, and life nodes like a lot, and you can actually feel the impact of this in the game. So I don't know if they did this because they thought that the high tiers of maximum life on armor pieces would be enough, but the way the game scales after you reach tier 16, tier 15, and kill uber bosses shows that it's not enough. Like, there are many hits, there are hit kills still in the game, and there are things that are way more powerful. There are rare monsters that are way more powerful than uber bosses sometimes in terms of damage. Not on life, like the uber bosses, they are like good sponges, life sponges. So I believe that something around here when it comes to calculations and damage and everything, they should be revisiting. And I believe they will. I truly believe they will at some point. So, going on, and I would like to say that I don't feel like the charms they are impactful enough in the game. I like the idea, I honestly do. You know, having the charms work instead of needing to press 5 buttons and or having to depend and rely on, you know, they in the past they create a mechanic to prevent the user to need to be hard spamming buttons like a piano, you know. So they added the stealing on the game on PoE1, and later you have Mage Blood. Now you have the charms to bring more value, and it's already a change because you're not depending so much on all this button, pay attention, all the potions and have all charge. The game does it for you, but I think like I don't know if it's the duration or the conditions to activate, like the fact that you are free, you get freeze, and then or you get hit by lightning, to then you gain resistance to lightning. You know, this is something that feels strange. The trade-off, like I believe that there should be some way to to calculate before, and then unless it's calculating before, but there is no way. There's nowhere telling me that. It's not explicit enough. I can't understand if it's like by the moment I get hit by lightning damage, before it starts to calculate how much damage I would take, it activates and the charm enters in the equation or not. Or if it's like the first hit that you take without the charm resistance, and then after the other ones that come after, you take with the charm resistance. So these are things that actually change the game. The charms slots, having the like here having suffixes on the belt that are occupying this slot is bad, because on the suffixes on the belt we have many important modifiers. Let's say, for instance, resistances and status, and now charms, they are there. So if you want to have more charms, you need to have +2 there. I don't think this is a good thing. Like, I believe that they at least should be a prefix instead of suffixes. Should be a prefix at least. Okay. And which comes to the next thing. Like, I would like to see some of the modifiers go moving away from suffixes and becoming prefixes to balance better the list of modifiers that we have. Like, you see that in some items they are too load on suffixes, but on the prefixes you don't have many stuff. So this is something that I believe that should be better explored here. I don't know, this is probably not coming on the .1.1, but let's see. This is just a simple wish list. And improved rolls and drops of rare pieces that are tier 5 plus So tier 5 plus, they start dropping on higher tier maps, and the rolls from the items, they are not great. They doesn't feel great. Like having this saying tier 5 plus or nothing, it feels pretty much the same because again, you don't have ways to do good crafting in the game. So it's a simpler roulette where you go, you take the item, reveal it, and then he has tier 5, let's say tier 5 um accuracy rating, but you don't need accuracy rating at all, or tier 5 light radius, let's say. Okay, it's just a random example. Let's say tier 5 light radius, and this is not something that, like, okay, it came tier 5 light radius, and then the other modifiers, they are all bad. They come low, or they come with some bad rolls, and you can't do much to modify, you can't do much to improve the item. So we're stuck with that. So I don't think you, at least if they are, I believe this indicator of tier 5, tier 6 plus, they should indicate that the item will bring a more consistent set of rolls. So let's say if you have, it's tier 5 plus, so it has higher chances on a mace, on a two-handed mace, to drop with add physical and increase physical, increase critical, increase attack speed. Not all then on the same pool, right? But increase the chance in general. Like, so you have at least 2 out of 6 mods, or maybe they shouldn't, or maybe they shouldn't drop with 6 mods, and then you have space to risk your currency, your exalted with the omens to actually try the luck and get something better. I don't know. Improve the amount of omens that we get also, and improve the amount of rare omens that we get, because the omens that make the crafting more deterministic, right? That they help on the determinism of the crafting, they are rare, and in a sense that is not viable. Even more if you play on Trade League and you're not crafting much, it's not viable even to have them for crafting. It's better to sell because people are paying fortune on it. So yes, I believe that this is something that should change. Remove the load screen from pressing U, which means open the Atlas maps and Act maps. I don't know if you guys, but sometimes when I press that, I get a load screen that makes no sense, because it seems like a load screen that's connected to the API server. Because if it's related to my PC, I'm going to give up, because the NVMe, everything that the processor, the NVMe, and the GPU, everything there, they have enough power to an amount of memory. I'm pretty sure that they have enough power to, load a JPEG really fast. And in this case, sometimes just get stuck, and you'll see that the game, and you'll know that it's not something related to the image actually, because if you press and then you say, ouch, I shouldn't have pressed this, and remove, he still get stuck, like you can't come back fast to the action. So I believe this is a big bug on the way that they have the things being loaded right now. So I hope they fix it. And for the Atlas, yes, the Atlas, more things to talk about the Atlas, improvements on the Atlas navigation and tracking. So I believe that they need to add means to mark points of interest And these points of interest could be something that you type, so you then later have a bar that you can search, and you search for the thing that you have, or have a bar on the right side that you can click, and then it teleports you straight to the thing that you marked, the point of interest that you mark in the map. Improve navigation by adding search tools to highlight the point of interest. Maybe, let's say, you want to highlight, you search for irradiated. So you go there, type irradiated, and it starts listing your points irradiated that you want to go to. Or maybe you type a map like sand speeds, and then it throws you to the, I don't know, it could be to the nearest sand speeds that you have available to do, you know? It doesn't need to be exactly the sand speed that you're looking for. If it's not the one that you're looking for, there should be a button to press and go next. Like a simple search tool. I don't know how hard or how expensive, how costly this could be, but this is something that would change the Atlas, like, in a massive way for the better. Because if they want to work with this Atlas that they brought to us, they need to give us the tools to make it good to use. And right now it's not that good to use. Increase the zoom out, just like we have the glitch that Imperial showed to us, like if you press S and zoom out, like you have that way better vision, that panoramic vision of the Atlas. That's something that should be the feature. That should not be a bug, that should be the feature, actually. And I don't know, this is just something that it would be okay to have, but it's nothing that actually impact much. I will just impact the amount of times that you'll be actually be doing over bosses and everything, but increase the frequency of citadels nodes being generated, because like it's cool to be going and doing bosses, doing uber bosses. And yes, this is all that I expect to see, this is all that I hope to see, and we'll know what's going to be on January 12th. And I hope that we have good news and good changes and big changes coming for the game. I'm excited now that we have GGG back on the office. This year is going to be Path of Exile 2 year, We still have Path of Exile 1 to announce stuff on, I don't know if it's going to be at the start of mid of February, but because of the new league that they have promised to us, that's going to be the biggest ever, the biggest expansion they ever made. So yeah, I'm excited for that as well. But this year is PoE 2 year. There is a long way ahead. There's a lot of things to improve. But this game is already a blast, it's already a success, and I'm loving every single second of it. Again, as I said before, I have 400 hours in the game. I don't regret even a second. I don't regret a second. Like, I sometimes just get mad because I die, but because I'm a noob. So that's on me. That's not on the game, okay? And, well, this is all. Peace out. Have a good day. Have a good time. And don't go crazy, okay? Peace. See you.